I want to thank everybody for coming out. One of the things that we have to recognize is that we can't keep coming to rallies after the fact. We have to start planning to actually make a dent in this situation. We have to start planning. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to get people involved and to start making an effort to get some real change. And the kind of real change, or one of the ways that we can get real change, is to have a genuine Citizens Review Board. See, we have a Citizens Review Board in the city, but it doesn't work. It's actually, it's really a police board, because the police sit on the board and they intimidate witnesses, they intimidate board members into siding with the police all the time. Since the board has been in place since 1993, not one officer has been brought up on any charges. So when the board was created, it was created after, who remembers Sagan Penn? Anybody remember Sagan Penn? Oh, that's sad. Nobody knows. I mean, there's only a few people. Well, what happened was, well, I want to get into that story, but as a result of the Sagan Penn case, there was a call for a Citizens Review Board, and the citizens of Southeast San Diego were the main ones calling for it. That's the black area, in case nobody doesn't know. So they were calling for this board. And what happened was the police got their own board. They set up their own thing. And so there were two propositions. One, the one that won out was the one that the police put together. So what we need to do is we need to go back and put one for the people, so that we elect the people who are actually sitting on the board. So it begins to reflect the faces that we see out here today, and not the police. Another way that we can do it is by cop watching. How many ever heard of Cop Watch? Cop Watch is an organization that goes around monitoring the police activities. So we have a chapter here called the Sagan Penn chapter of Cop Watch, and we meet every second Sunday, every second and fourth Sunday of the month. So we're asking for people to come out. If you're ready to be a part of the change that needs to happen, to come out to one of these meetings, and we meet right here in the park, right here at one of these tables, to come out and actually be part of the change. I challenge you to come up with another way to change the way things are going. I challenge you to come out and be a part of the change. And I want to say this finally. This is a rally about Michael Brown. This is a rally about Michael Brown and all of the victims of police brutality. Because we have a whole list of people right over here from San Diego just alone. So all these people are crying out for the help from the community now and saying, come out, do something, be a part of an organization. If you don't see an organization that you want to be a part of, just make one. But be a part of the change. Thank you very much.
People's Power Assembly. Can everybody hear me? Okay, my name is Gloria Verdu, and I'm with the Committee Against Police Brutality, and also with People's Power Assembly, and I'm also with the Coalition to Free Mumia and all political prisoners. You know, there's a connection between the prison industrial complex and what we're doing here, and I don't think that anybody here has a problem with making that connection. And people who are in prisons, political prisoners, they are affected by what happens out here. But mainly, Mumia writes about what happens out here. And so I'm going to read a statement by Mumia Abu-Jamal. But first I want to agree with what Carl said, and that's true. You need to be a part of an organization. What we do as individuals is good, but we need to be a part of an organization. Let me tell you a story. And this story, everybody knows about. The story of the bus strike. Rosa Parks. Is everybody familiar with Rosa Parks and the 1955 bus strike? Does anybody know what the demands were of that bus strike? What were the initial demands? Does anybody know? Well, let me see. It was 3 initial demands. One of the demands was that the bus drivers and the bus company treat the people with dignity. You know, when you walk on the bus, a black African person walking the bus, they'd have to, and pay their dime, they'd have to walk off the bus and go to the back of the bus and get back on again. So be treated with dignity. And number 2 was that black people have a spot in the back of the bus is theirs. So that when the bus gets full, we don't have to give up our seats like Rosa Parks had to do. That was number 2. It seems like really simple demands. Number 3 is that we hire Africans, black people, to work on the bus in areas where the bus goes in the black community. You know, really simple. You know, it took a year, over a year, of not riding the bus in order for that to happen. And this is for young people out here who think that things are going to happen right away. Nothing happens fast. It takes time. We need a revolution, but we're going through evolution. We go back and we go forth. So in order to make that happen, the bus strikers back then, in 1955, they were organized. They organized, you know, the rides, the jobs, they organized everything. And we have to do that too. We have to be organized. Okay, so now I'm going to read this statement by Mumia. And one other thing I'm going to have to say is that we shouldn't be doing this. I mean, I went to, they had a few demonstrations here. One was Reclaim Our Community, which was in Southeast San Diego, which was a great event. And one was I Matter, which was put on by the religious community, which was also good, in front of the police department downtown. But a lot of those demonstrations were saying that we don't want what happens in Ferguson to happen here in San Diego. How do we prevent that? Well, what is it that we don't want in Ferguson to happen in San Diego? I think the police don't want us to get riled up, don't want us to protest, don't want us to express to speak out, don't want us to, it's too much. But we have to figure this thing out, because eventually, you know, just like in San Diego right now, 3 people have been killed in San Diego in 2014. So we have to figure this thing out. We have to figure out how are we going to, you know, how do we deal with the police? Right? We really need an independent, community-elected police review board, and Kyle has explained to you why we need that. Because in every one of these cases, how long it takes to get even a report, you know, to the families. So, back to Mumia. He's written several essays, you know, related to this event, and I just chose one. And the title to this is 1, 2, 3 Fergusons. For over a week, the media and millions of viewers and readers have been focused on the ever-changing events of Ferguson, Missouri, where a local teenager, Michael Brown, was shot to death by a white cop. What has been consistent and unchanging has been the level of outrage among black Ferguson residents, men and women who have resisted every attempt to silence or sidetrack their efforts. Their efforts to achieve the arrest, prosecution, and conviction of the white cop, Darrell Wilson, who killed and shot and killed Mike Brown. They are fueled by fury and a long train of police repression. They haven't let anything, promises, provocations, politicians, or police turn them away from their objective. The system has used weapons of war, sniper rifles, armored personal carriers, submachine guns, and other implements of military violence to intimidate the people, to threaten the people, to silence the people. They only continued their marches for justice for Mike Brown. They faced street-talking politicians promising peace, police with dark faces promising protection, preachers praying for placidity, and they kept on marching. They were threatened with arrest if they broke curfew and received the acid rain of tear gas, and they kept on marching. Marching for justice for Mike Brown. A reporter for a national cable outlet asked 5 teens clad in baseball hats and bright red bandanas to identify themselves. One by one, they announced their names. Mike Brown. They were all Mike Brown. As they marched past fear, they are indeed Mike Brown, as we all. And this is from Mumia Abu Jamal. We got to get up and keep up the fight, people. Free Mumia, free all political prisoners, stop police brutality.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Ariel. Like Ariel, I'm a graduate student at San Diego State, and I think a number of other people here are from SDSU as well. If you're from SDSU, please raise a hand or a fist so that we know who. All right, excellent. So, y'all, let's keep in touch after this and keep organizing on campus and in the community so that this won't be the last day that we organize together, but just one of the first, right? The organization I'm with, the International Socialist Organization, meets here every Thursday at 6 p.m. in the rec center just behind the pool there. This coming Thursday, we have a meeting called From Ferguson to Revolution. How can we finally defeat racism and oppression? So please come and join us there at 6 p.m. this Thursday to discuss this issue and discuss how we can create a world where we don't need to keep coming out to fight these things. I want to thank the speakers before and everybody else who's come out today to join us. It's really important that we're here. We're here to call attention to the lives that have been stolen by the police in San Diego and all across the country, and in fact all across the world, because police are an institution that serve the same function all around the world. All around the world, police oppress poor and working people. All around the world, police are racist. So, the police as an institution are racist. And we know this because they single out people of color for stops, arrests, and the criminal justice system piles on extraordinary sentences to people of color. This institution is racist, but it's not just racist in and of itself. It also helps to create and promote racism in the broader society. It does that by treating black people and other people of color more harshly. And when people see people of color being treated more harshly by the police, this creates a negative image in the media and in popular culture. A lot of people want to blame like popular music or something for negative images. I think that the daily police harassment of people of color actually creates a negative image and creates and reinforces racism. So we have to ask ourselves, why does this institution exist? Why are there police? They tell us that they're here to protect life and property, but ask the houseless people who live in this park if the police protect their property. They don't. Ask Michael Brown if the police protected his life. They didn't. They're here to protect the lives and the property, not of ordinary people, but of the 1%. And we can learn this by looking at history. Between 1825 and 1855 is when the institution known as the police got started. Was this because there was a crime wave in the mid-1800s? No, this is because there were large, defiant crowds. Because of changes in the economy, ordinary working people were gathered together in places like this neighborhood. People had neighborhood rebellions, had strikes, and in the slave states of the United States had slave insurrections. So the ruling class created a repressive institution called the police, which are with us still today, and their role in society was to break up and defeat large, defiant crowds. That's why you won't see them helping you, but you will see them standing around here when a bunch of peaceful people get together to talk about the problems in our society. And the last thing I want to say is a big thank you to the people of Ferguson, because the people of Ferguson boldly stood up against all of the, what's the opposite of an outside agitator? An outside pacifier? All of the people who came into their community and said, oh, don't worry about it, go home, go back inside, we'll figure it out, just wait to vote for somebody in 2016. The people of Ferguson said, no, we want justice now, and we're not going home. We have every right to be on the streets. We have every right to resist and rebel against the violence of the police. And because of that, they caught the attention and they inspired not just the country, but the world. There's people all over the world looking to Ferguson as an inspiration for fighting back. So we need to take that inspiration and we need to do what the previous speakers here have said, which is get involved in organizations in your community, on your campus. All of the speakers here are good people to talk to about how to get involved. And the next one that I'm going to bring up is Kathy from United Against Police Terror.
Thank you, Bo. So, as I was introduced, I'm with United Against Police Terror San Diego and also part of Black and Pink San Diego. And what we do is we advocate for LGBTQ identified prisoners and we push for prison abolition. So as a member of both United Against Police Terror and Black and Pink San Diego, a goal is to end the widespread assault on Black and brown life by every stage of law enforcement interactions, be it through the school to prison pipeline, in custody and in our communities in the form of curfew sweeps, gang injunctions, racial profiling during vehicle and pedestrian stops, as well as seeking justice for over 180 lives stolen by law enforcement right here in San Diego County. As we all should be aware, the police have no duty to protect the community. Their goal in society is to reinforce laws and to maintain order. Deployed in the streets wearing camouflage battle dress, uniforms, body armor, helmets, radios, assault weapons, and riding mine-resistant ambush protected vehicles, MRAPs, as well as Bearcat vehicles designed for high-risk deployment, while aiming long guns at civilians from a prone position as snipers. The militarized assault does not end with the color of one's skin. Law enforcement agencies not only enforce systemic power relations based on race through racial profiling, race-based policing, and targets community of color, but also target people with disabilities and who are mentally ill. People who are deaf, unable to hear orders, unable to heed orders, they do not hear, unable to communicate with authority, often are killed or battered by a system that does not take the communication needs into consideration. People who are peer, walk, talk differently are often singled out, accused of being under the influence. When police bullies these community members, people with mental health conditions come in contact with police on the streets when the behavior doesn't conform to society's expectations, or when police are called to respond to medical or psychiatric emergencies with brutal and often deadly force, claiming they felt they were in imminent danger. 1 in every 4 interactions with people who are mentally ill are killed. Case in point, Glenn Willis, 47 years old, an African-American male who was acting erratically in his home in Oakland neighborhood in 2003. When he called 911, the responding officer ignored the neighbor's plea that Glenn should be taken into the hospital, saying, "Don't tell me how to do my job." I apologize. And then supposedly perceiving a threat because Willis had a pocket knife, the cop shot and killed him. They target those who deviate from societal and behavioral norms. Law enforcement also police gender lines, enforce dominant racialized gender norms. Yet the gendered aspects and manifestations of law enforcement violence are often invisible in organizing and advocacy. This is where United Against Police Terror comes in. This must be documented and addressed. According to Policing Gender, by the radical feminists of the organization IRATE, gender is not a separate discussion from policing and profiling. Said Andrea Ritchie, the director of Streetwise and SAFE, at a panel on policing and gender. Sometimes police enforcement of gender binary, the notion that there are only two genders, male and female, with specific conduct and appearance mandated for each. Until just a few decades ago, cops used to enforce what they were called as sumptuary laws, which required individuals to wear gender-appropriate clothing and subject people to arrest and impersonating another gender. Today, such regulations remain in effect in prisons and are enforced through disciplinary infractions and punitive segregation. People who do not conform to gender norms are perceived by law enforcement officers as disorderly, suspicious, threatening, violent, fraudulent, deceitful, and/or mentally unstable because of their gender disjuncture, and are therefore routinely profiled, harassed, and arbitrarily arrested for vague offenses such as disorderly conduct. They are also subject to transphobic and homophobic verbal abuse and punishments in the form of physical violence for failure to comply with prevalent norms of gender identity and expression. This is a call to demand justice for all black and brown lives. They all matter. From Mike Brown to Glenn Willis to Duana Johnson, a black transgender woman who back in 2008 was beaten by a police officer while she was held in the Shelby County Criminal Justice Center in Tennessee. Later found dead on the street that year. The organization I'm with is organizing a October 22nd event. It's the national call to remember all of the lives lost from police brutality, law enforcement violence. We ask you, because we want this to be more than an organization, we want this to be a movement. Please come on October 22nd. Support your community. Reiterate your rights. Let the individuals know across the street that you do have a right to film. You do have a right to assert your rights. And I really appreciate you coming out here and supporting these organizations. Thank you. Activism comes naturally to her, and personal is political, and she's an amazing woman, amazing mother, and just an amazing person. I'd like to introduce to you Shekinah Ortega.
Thank everybody for being out here. This means a lot. I'm Shekinah Ortega. Some of you guys may know me. I'm Victor Ortega's wife. And Victor was killed by the San Diego police officer, Jonathan McCarthy, in 2012. So this means a lot to me when everybody's out here supporting. And what happened to Michael Brown and Ferguson was wrong. And in order for there to be a difference, people to make a difference, people have to stand up and make some noise.
Right, that's right.
Because if you don't, because I'm going to tell you personally, the police, they lie. They lie. And I'm telling you guys from my own experience, they lie. So we have to be these people's voices because they're not here. Michael Brown's not here to tell what happened.
Right.
Victor's not here to tell what happened.
Right.
I'm here to tell what happened when it comes to Victor because I just feel like, and you know, this is so awesome how people come out here and gather around, but we need to step it up a notch, for real. Because this is getting out of hand, out of control, and it's like these police officers, you guys may not realize it or not, but they work for us. Okay, they're supposed to be out here protecting and serving us, and we can't let them just go by no more. Oh, I felt threatened, so I'm gonna shoot first. When they have a lot of things on their belt, you guys, that they could use.
Exactly.
So I say that it's time for us to do something a little bit different. And okay, sorry. It's time to do a little bit something different because when I sat and watched what happened in Missouri, I was disgusted. Like, I've been dealing with this for 2 years now. My husband got killed 2 years ago, and there's no change.
No.
Like, I think now I'm just more realizing, aware that it happens every single day.
Right.
Because before Victor died, I didn't realize that the police, you know, they took my trust away from them.
Right.
I don't trust them at all. And I know what it's like to, you know, trust police and, you know, think they're the good guys. And I'm not talking about the good cops either. So don't get me wrong. I'm talking about the ones that take advantage of their job and take, you know, the ones I'm talking about. And they know what the ones I'm talking about too. So I just think that, you know, it's a good thing for everybody to be out here and support each other because we are these people. We are Michael Brown and Victor Ortega and all those other names up there. Because, I mean, it's funny how, you know, you have two different sides of everything. Like, half of the world is team Michael Brown and the other half is officer. But when you, I'm actually somebody that's actually could tell you, speak firsthand. I don't know, I wasn't in Missouri, but I guarantee the police lied.
Exactly.
I guarantee, because they did it with my situation, they lied. And you know, Jonathan McCarthy is still working. He's still out there patrolling and, you know, living his life. And I don't know if he has kids or not, but he probably sees them. Victor don't get to see his kids. Our kids is over there playing, and they don't have a father anymore. You know, so, and it bothers me that it's like nobody's not doing anything. You know, we go to the district attorney. You know, you think you trust her that she's going to do a thorough investigation. She doesn't. No. So, you know, it's what could we do? You know, we have to get out there and do something. And I think we should write letters to the Attorney General, because you know, I just don't want nobody to forget about Victor Ortega, because that happened right here in San Diego.
Right.
And this is still going on. And I really need you guys' help. I need your support. I need you guys to make some noise for Victor too. Okay? Because what happened to him was wrong. You know, I know what it's like to lose somebody from the police. And I mean, it's horrible that I'm even out. I think it's horrible that I'm even out here talking about the police mistreating us. Like, but it is what it is, you guys, and we need to do something about it. So, don't forget about Michael Brown. Don't forget about Victor Ortega. Don't forget about yourselves, okay? Because don't forget about your family members either. Because when you're out here making noise for about all this stuff going on, you're helping everybody out. My kids out there, because they're going to be older, and you know, we're helping everybody out, and we need to make a change. And hopefully, you know, I don't want to see no violence, but I really want people to get mad. Get mad when a police officer shoots somebody when they're handcuffed, or when they're surrendering, or you know, when they're walking away. Get mad about that, because if you don't get mad about that, they're not going to get mad about it, and it's going to keep on continuing if we don't put our foot down. So I'm just asking everybody out here, if just help, support, because it's all it takes. If I can't do it by myself, you know, we can't. I need everybody's help. They're gonna look at me like I'm crazy anyways, you know. So I need everybody out here, and people that maybe you don't know nobody that lost somebody from police, or you're just mad about what's going on, and that's great. Can we get like some letters? I think we need letters. Everybody needs to write letters to these agencies. The Attorney General, they need to investigate Jonathan McCarthy. You guys, he's still out there. He's still patrolling Mira Mesa area. He's a murderer. He needs to get off the street. You know? And I can't even go over the case. My case is still going on, but I am going to say that, you know, what I could say is that don't believe everything you hear on the news.
Right.
Okay? Especially when you're hearing it from the police, because it's not true. And the reason why I can sit here and say that, don't think that she just don't like police. I'm telling you guys this because I experienced it, and it's real. Like they're gonna come and say whatever they want to say, because Victor's not here. You know, these people up there, those names are not here, and the community just gonna think, oh, the police said, but the police is liars. So I need you guys to make some noise for all these victims up there from where we are. Michael Brown, everybody. I can't even name all the probably millions of people, but I just want everybody to know, in Ferguson, everybody all over the world, that even though I'm only in San Diego, I'm supporting you guys, and I'm going to do whatever I have to do to make a change, because this change, when it affects one of us, it affects all of us. And that's what we need to understand, is all of us that are in this fight together. And it's been 2 years, you guys, and I'm tired. Like, I'm drained. I'm tired of every time I turn on the news, somebody get killed unarmed. And I'm not even talking about people that were actually shooting back. I'm talking about unarmed people here, you guys. This is ridiculous. And they could come up and say any excuse, oh, I feared for my life. It's ridiculous. So, thank you guys, and that's all I have to say.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I just wanted to remind you guys that there's water underneath the table there. It's not too warm, too. So please help yourself. It is hot out here. Next person we're having come up to speak is Dennis from Sammy.
Hello, everyone.
I just want to thank the organizers for bringing us here today. This is actually my neighborhood. I walked up and down these streets as a high school student at Hoover High, right down the street. Graduated from there in 1990. And I'm actually a professor at UCSD, which is a real rare thing for someone from Hoover High School or Lincoln or from places like Barrio Logan to end up teaching our youth at UCSD. So I take that very seriously as a responsibility to my neighborhood and neighborhoods like mine. And what the sister was just talking about is really real. The personal effect that this latest instance, and it's hard to keep track, like she said, because you can't turn on the news and not hear about another one of our youth being gunned down. And you know, like the year that Trayvon Martin was murdered, and everybody was, you know, really rallying around that. There were 312 other black people that were murdered by police and vigilantes that year. 313 recorded murders of black people by police and vigilantes in the year 2012. So I hope everybody gets a chance to see the report that Malcolm X Grassroots Movement put out that year, called Operation Ghetto Storm. The report on police terror in our communities, and that's available online. You got to go take a look at that. And that report was based on the long-standing trajectory of this kind of terrorism against our communities. It's actually based on a document that came out in 1951 called We Charge Genocide, that was presented to the United Nations, that was an accounting of all the murders of black people that took place in the years right after World War II for about a 10-year period. A black communist named William Patterson put that one out. And you look at the trajectory all the way back to slavery, because, you know, I'm a hip-hop fan. I know some of the youth here, some of the not-so-youth folks that remember KRS-One talked about, you know, about police. You're put here to protect and serve, but who protects us from you? Right? Or what's the difference between an officer and an overseer? Right? The officer is, you know, going around our nation and affecting our youth the same way the police, the overseer affected our youth and terrorized all of our people on the plantation. And the sister talking about Victor Ortega's murder, her spouse's murder, and how it's a personal thing when she sees this story. My father was murdered by police in 1979, shot 4 times in the back, unarmed, for a $40 robbery of a convenience store in Oklahoma. My little brother's father was murdered, basically lynched in Mississippi, for being a black man in Mississippi, basically. So this has affected my family for my entire life. But as I grew and as I studied, I realized that it wasn't just about my family. And while we focus on the high incidence of murder of our youth, black and brown and poor and indigenous youth, we can't forget that even when the good cops are doing their good duty and not killing our youth and just taking them to jail and just locking them up, that's a form of murder as well. Gloria was talking about that earlier. The prison industrial complex is based on the slavery industrial complex. And it's not hyperbole and it's not metaphor. The 13th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution delegalized slavery in the United States. But if you read that amendment, and please go home and type it in, it says slavery and involuntary servitude are no longer legal except if one is convicted of a crime. So it legalized slavery in the prisons and county jails. And so our people have been dealing with that reality of prison slavery since the passage of that amendment in 1865. Now you have 2.3 million of us. 70% are people of color, 99.9% are poor, locked up in these modern day slave plantations that certain people are making a lot of money off of. And it's not just private prison companies. Even though you have CCA, Corrections Corporation of America, operating the biggest immigrant detention facility in the world, just down here in Otay, right next to the Donovan prison, which they're getting ready to expand by about 900 beds with our tax money. So we've been organizing as a part of the San Diego No More Prisons and Jails Coalition. The sister mentioned SAMI, Students Against Mass Incarceration. The students up at UCSD have gotten wind of what their tax dollars are doing, and they realize that they need to be in the community. I'm the faculty advisor for that organization. We're going to have plenty of events. We marched with the sisters for the Trail for Humanity a couple of weeks ago from right, in Barrio Logan all the way down to the border. We need to connect all these dots. And what all these dots say is that if you want to talk about warfare globally, you don't have to look any further than the domestic warfare and the occupation of our communities that's happening on a daily basis. Thank you.
Okay, next we're going to have Christina from Women Occupy.
Hi, my name's Christina Imhoff. I'm with Women Occupy San Diego. There's a number of us here today. Okay, there's a number of us here today from Women Occupy San Diego, and I think it's great to see so many people out today about this. Women Occupy has a group of us that are working on reforming the Citizens Oversight Board for the police. As you know, the police are being audited by an outfit called PERF, Police Executive Review Forum. They were here in San Diego, and we held meetings with them. We held one meeting that was very stirring. People testified about their experiences with the police. We wanted PERF to get as many stories as possible to let them see what people are really experiencing from the police department. Not what the media are saying, but what is actually happening. And we want more of you to tell your stories. It is extremely important for this outfit, PERF, to hear from you. Our long-term goal is to reform the Citizens Oversight Board, to get a new petition on the ballot, actually, and make the board more powerful. Right now it has no subpoena power. It cannot investigate on its own. It has to take the word of the Internal Affairs Department in a case. It's really the Internal Affairs Department that decides which way a case is going to go. So there's no real independent review. So we want to change that, and we need a ballot measure. We need an initiative. We need to collect petitions. I would ask for your help. Anybody that wants to help us do this, please come and see me. We will sign you up to our group so we can get involved and start this process. Do you all agree? Yeah. We need reform. Oh my gosh. So Occupy submitted 23 cases of complaints against the police during the Occupy action in City Plaza downtown. We call it Freedom Plaza. None of those 23 cases went to the Citizens Oversight Board. And we asked them, where are they? What's the status? We don't know. How's that for professionalism? Yeah. So we need to change it. Let's change the Citizens Oversight Board review. Thank you. And I have copies of the form to follow your, not officially, these are complaint forms or comment forms to the PERF. And I want as many people as possible to fill out these forms. Mrs. Ortega already has done that for me. Please come and get a form and fill out. If you have any experiences of encountering the police here in San Diego, let us know what they are. Write them down. Thank you so much. Thanks.
Okay, next we're going to have Imani come up and speak.
I'm Imani. I'm not with any particular organization, but I have.
Speak into the mic.
I'm not with any particular organization, but so I know many of us have probably never experienced police brutality firsthand. But as Gloria told me, if it takes everybody to be personally victimized to believe that there's something wrong with the system, then we're already too late at that point. In a social contract, we have the people and we have the state. And the fact that the police have more power than us, that they have authority over us, means that they also have accountability. Right. You can't have a title without having an answer for your mistakes and for your crimes. And so as the people, our power is in numbers. So we must use our numbers and we must use our voices if we're actually ever going to make anything happen, or else these issues will continue. If police continue, so my grandfather, when he was picking up he was like in his 50s. He was picking up my uncle. He was driving down the road. This is in Palo Alto, and a police officer stopped him, started talking to my uncle, and harassing him. My grandfather got out of the car to try to explain the situation, that it was his son. And then the police officer claimed at that point that he grabbed for his gun and was attempting to assault him. And he threw him on the ground, he handcuffed him, he beat him, and then he went to jail for 2 months. And he was this is a Stanford alumni, father of 3, who was treated in this way. And when he got out of jail, he had a congestional heart problem that ended up killing him a few years later. And I think the fact that this happened, and it's not just an instance, but a pattern, is completely unacceptable.
Right.
And so, just when we look at Ferguson and we look at San Diego, we just want justice, and the only thing that's getting in the way of that is this sort of power construct we have, and we need to rise above it. We've been empowering our police as a country through the military-industrial complex, through the war on drugs, and through the war on terrorism. We've given police officers these guns and turned them against, the citizens, and made them think that this is their own sort of war zone, and that they have things that we're the enemy. But that's not the case. And the police should be working for us. And if they don't, they don't have the right to be in charge, to have authority over the people. Accountability is necessary if police are to do their jobs.
Hello, my name is Virginia Franco, and I am the local contact for the Democratic Socialists of America, San Diego. I have a statement here from our national website, which is very long, so I will shorten it because there are so many human interest stories that people want to listen to. DSA is a national organization out of New York City, where we have several youth section chapters. Here in San Diego, we don't have the youth section chapter. The organization is www.dsausa.org. In the event you want to read for yourself the whole text of this statement, I chose just a few. Okay, justice for Michael Brown, community control of police and equality for all. Statement by the Democratic Socialists of America National Political Committee, August 21st, 2014. Democratic Socialists of America calls for a full federal rights investigation into the killings of Michael Brown and an end to the militarization of local police forces. The action of the Ferguson, Missouri Police Department exemplifies the dangers to the lives of ordinary Americans, particularly people of color, posed by overly aggressive, heavily armed police forces. And I will scroll down to, at play in Ferguson are forces long present in American society. The unrelenting killing of unarmed young persons of color by both police forces and white vigilantes, from Trayvon Martin to Oscar Grant or Eric Garner, demonstrates how racism literally takes the lives of people of color. I was here before you people who came for the Trayvon Martin Memorial also, and I can't believe I'm still here. While urban rebellion in oppressed communities of color are by no means a new phenomenon for the United States, the level of paramilitary police force in Ferguson is. The tanks, battle, armor, and mounted semi-automatic weapons present in the streets reflects Americans' imperial ambitions abroad, as these weapons are channeled from surplus war equipment to local police departments through the Department of Homeland Security grants. As democratic socialists, we abhor the logic that allows for local police departments to transform themselves into surrogate occupying armies, defending social order against popular demands for social justice. DSA believes DSA believes in fighting for an equitable tax system that would fund public investment and job training that could employ the underemployed and unemployed in alternative energy production and rebuilding of infrastructure and affordable housing. In addition, independent civilian review boards with adequate funding and power should oversee a local police force that is well-trained and representative of the communities they serve. And I am proud to say I'm also a member of the Women Occupy San Diego, and the efforts, their efforts are incredible and incredible too. That's the end of my talk, except for this last paragraph. Such measures can only mitigate, not abolish, the effects of racist criminal justice policies and the absence of equality of opportunity for low-income Americans. The events in Ferguson demonstrate that activity, challenging how low enforcement affects poor communities must be a priority for working to build a better America. Changes in criminal justice policies, however, cannot by themselves bring justice for all Americans. Social protest movements such as this one today must demand government policies that serve the interests of all rather than those in a narrow elite. Only by building a majoritarian movement for racial and economic justice can we reverse the growth of racial and class apartheid in the United States. Thank you for listening.
Amelia from Affirm.
How's everybody doing today? Are you ready to march soon?
All right.
All right, I'm going to keep this short. As our nation mourns the death of another black youth, we are reminded once again of the injustices that occur every day due to police brutality. We are also reminded that our society is far from being anywhere near a post-race era. Not when youth are already deemed as criminals for simply having black or brown skin. Not when our system doesn't do enough to help protect people of color from racial profiling and police abuse. Not when at least half the nation is willing to turn a blind eye to the state-sanctioned violence inflicted onto marginalized communities by an increasingly militarized police force. Many people have criticized the people of Ferguson for inciting violence. But what about the violence committed by police officers every day? Over the years, there has been a consistent pattern of police officers inflicting violence onto citizens, most of them being men of color, the LGBT community, and women. While the nation has paid close attention to the issue of men of color being targeted, victimized, and murdered by police, there has been a silence when it comes to acknowledging the stories of women who are also victims of state-sanctioned violence. Affirm calls on justice for those whose voices are silenced into submission and whose stories never reach the news. Affirm calls on the names of Yvette Smith, a 47-year-old woman killed in Texas by a sheriff's deputy. Ayanna Jones, a 7-year-old girl from Detroit who was killed in her own home due to a single bullet shot by a Detroit SWAT officer, and the list goes on. The women of Affirm denounce the current injustices at play here. We continue to denounce imperialism, militarization of police and borders, and the marginalization of our communities. And as a transnational feminist organization, we recognize the connections of these injustices as they relate to communities across the nation and across the globe. From Ferguson to Gaza to San Diego, although our struggles are different in many ways, our communities are fighting against the same enemies, the same forces that are constantly working against us. We continue to denounce the state-sanctioned violence that has harmed and murdered countless numbers of women and children. We matter. Women matter. And until justice is served, we will continue to fight in solidarity against these forces that fuel our oppressions and threaten our very lives. All right, is everybody ready to march now? All right. I can't hear you. Is everybody ready to march?
Must go! many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
No justice.
No peace.
No races.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No killer.
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 Police.
Give yourself a hand. Make some noise. Make some noise. Make some noise.
Darren Wilson.
Darren Wilson, do your time. Being black is not a crime. Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
John McCarthy, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
John McCarthy, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
John McCarthy, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
Darren Wilson, do your time.
Being black is not a crime.
No justice.
No peace.
No killer.
Police.
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 No justice.
No peace.
No races.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No killer.
Police.
No justice.
No peace.
No killer.
Police.
Make some noise. Make some noise. Make some noise.
Hey, we need another young person to get on this
How many kids have you killed today? How many kids have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say? How many people did you kill today?
SDPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SDPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SDPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SDPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today? SDPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SDPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today?
SDPD, what do you say?
How many people have you killed today? No peace. No peace. No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No peace. No peace. Police. No peace. No peace. No races. Police. Police. Police.
I say we turn.
No
think it's up to you guys. I think we go which way we go.
Police! Police! Justice! Now! Justice!
We should be doing the opposite of this.
Yeah. So are they? Are we?
I mean, not right now.
No, what's the reason to go left? You were saying.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! We're university. Don't shoot! 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 Hands up! 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 Don't shoot! Unarmed! Don't shoot! Unarmed! Don't shoot! Unarmed! Don't shoot! Black youth! Don't shoot! Black youth! McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! Do your time! Being black is not a crime! John McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! That's fine. Do your time! Being black is not a crime! John McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! John McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! John McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! John McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! John McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! John McCarthy, do your time! Being black is not a crime! Hands up! Don't shoot! 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 Don't shoot! STPD, what you say? How many people have you killed today? STPD, what you say? How many people have you killed today? STPD, what you say? How many people have you killed today?
Join us, man. Join us. Come on.
How many people have you killed today? STPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? STPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? STPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? STPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? Hands up! Don't shoot! 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 Don't shoot! Hands up! Don't shoot! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! Darren Wilson, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! Darren Wilson, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! Darren Wilson, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! John McCarthy, you can't hide! We charge you with homicide! Hands up! Don't shoot! 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 Darren Wilson, do your time! Being black is not a crime! Darren Wilson, do your time! Being black is not a crime! Darren Wilson, do your time! Being black is not a crime! today? SCPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SCPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SCPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SCPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SCPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SCPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today? SCPD, what do you say? How many people have you killed today?
Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for
Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown! Justice for Mike Brown!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Justice! Now!
No justice! No peace! No justice!
No peace! No justice! No peace! Justicia! Justicia! Ahora! Justicia!
La placa, la migra, la misma porquería. 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 ¡Sí se puede!
¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡Sí se puede! ¡La misma porquería! ¡La misma porquería! ¡La placa! ¡La migra! ¡La misma porquería! ¡La placa! ¡La migra! ¡La misma porquería!
La placa, la migra,
¡La misma porquería!
la placa,
La misma porquería! Divided! United will never be divided! ¡El pueblo unido jamás será vencido! ¡El pueblo unido jamás será vencido! United will never be defeated! 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 We'll never be divided! Never be defeated! The people united will never be defeated! United will never be divided! The people united will never be divided! The people united will never be divided! The people united will never be divided! La placa united will never be divided! La placa, la migra, la misma porquería! The people united will never be divided!
el pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
The people united will never be divided!
El pueblo unido jamás será vencido.
The people united will never be divided!
Because you guys grew up together, right? He was younger. Yeah, he was younger. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, he's right. Yeah, okay.
Don't shoot! Hands Justice!
cops are gonna fucking shoot your ass, man. We're trying to stop that shit.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! And when do we want it? Now!
¿Qué queremos?
Justice!
¿Cuándo?
Now!
¿Qué queremos?
Justice! Now!
¿Qué queremos?
Justice!
¿Cuándo?
Now!
¿Qué queremos?
Now!
¿Qué queremos?
Justice!
¿Cuándo? ¿Qué queremos?
Ahora! Justice! Now!
¿Qué queremos? ¿Cuándo? ¿Qué queremos? Ahora. ¿Qué queremos? Justicia. Ahora. We can vouch for it.
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Hands up! 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 Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
No justice, no peace.
No racist
Police. No justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace. No racist police. No justice, no peace. No racist police.
The whole way here. Are you gonna turn at the U-turns? Can we help you out?
No consensus, man.
Well, I mean, we want to redo it so we can do it safely.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get rid of
No racist police! No justice!
You guys are surrounding us. I think we're safe.
Police! No justice!
If you don't shoot us.
No racist police! No justice! No peace! No racist
Police.
No justice!
No peace.
No racist!
Police.
No justice!
No peace.
No racist!
Police.
Justice for! Justice for!
Watch out. The pedestrians aren't safe on your motorcycle.
Justice for! Justice for! Justice for! Justice for! Justice for! Justice for!
Víctor Ortega.
Justice for!
Trayvon Martin.
Justice for!
Víctor Ortega.
Justice for!
Consider intersections.
Justice for!
U-turn! U-turn!
Her streets, our streets. 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 Hands up. Our streets. Hands up. Our streets. Hands up. Don't shoot. 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 What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. La placa, la migra, la misma porquería. 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 La migra, la misma porquería. La placa, la migra, la misma porquería. La migra, la misma porquería. La misma porquería. La placa, la migra, la misma porquería. The people united will never be divided. What do we want? El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be divided. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be divided. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be divided. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be divided. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. The people united will never be divided.
unidos, jamás será vencido. United, we'll never be divided. El pueblo unido, jamás será vencido. The people united, will never be divided.
Well, obviously don't organize these
La
events.
migra, la misma porquería. La placa, la migra, la misma porquería. La placa, la migra, la misma porquería. La placa, la migra. Will never be divided. Hands up! Hands up! Don't shoot! 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 What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! Police! No peace! No racist police! No justice! 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 No peace! No racist police!
police station.
Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot. Hands up, don't shoot.
Oh, he's trying to go down.
Don't shoot. Hands up, 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 no police. No justice, no peace. No killer, police. No justice, no peace. No killer, police. No justice, no peace. No killer, police. No justice, no peace. Our streets. 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 Our streets.
Where are the organizers?
Our streets. 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 Go to the party lot. Our streets. 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 Our streets.
Are you? Are you?
I mean, we would have to hop him.
Our streets. 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 Our streets.
we do?
Absolutely. Let me write it down for you.
Hey yo, you wearing?
Yeah.
So it's good to finally meet you.
You too, man. You're in school, right?
Okay. I'm gonna go send the shade.
Oh.
Good march, everybody, right? Justice for?
I want to talk to you about a personal experience with police brutality to fill in some of the details of what actually happened. I grew up...
Keep it close to your mouth and point it towards your mouth.
Okay. I grew up in a blue-collar neighborhood on the East Coast, and it was the cops versus the kids, just like it is everywhere else. I was a good runner in those days. And I discovered what it was all about when I was still a teenager, 17. I got drunk. I was driving a car. I got stopped by the police in the city, and I took off. There were 11 shots in my car, and none in me. By the way, I have never spoken about this publicly, but it has to get out. When they finally got me, there was a war between a person my size and 4 cops. Two of them said that I caused them to go to the hospital, which really shows you how cops lie, unless it was for broken bones in their hands. I'm looking at that experience with new eyes. If they had had automatic weapons, I would not be here. If I were African American, I would not be here. I never knew that surviving a shooting, being savagely beaten, being tortured in the station house subsequently, and then of course legal proceedings that I won't go into, I never thought of that as white privilege. Now I do. It left me with PTSD that lasted for years. Whenever I saw a cop, there were times if I had had a weapon, it would have been a dead me or a dead cop. That's one thing that comes out of police brutality. They make enemies for life, and they create a threat against their own lives. I'm not the only person in the world who responded that way. I was half nuts for years, and then I joined the movement. And the civil rights movement, the anti-war movement, the feminist movement, the working against Prop 8. I've been in all of them. And the sisters and brothers in those political movements healed me. They got me to understand the problem wasn't me, the problem was the system and how it functions. 40 some odd years ago in this city, when we saw an arrest being made by the police, we'd observed. We had no cameras, nothing like that, but we wanted to be ready to testify if anything untoward happened to the person being arrested. If it was an African American person, you were even more motivated because you knew what they were probably in for at the hands of the police. Now we've got cell phones and we've got sexy cameras and all of that. We can at least watch whenever the police are interrogating and arresting. We can shoot film. We can shoot our video. We got to do that. If you got a camera, shoot the video. And I have personally committed, if I see anything going on where somebody's getting the crap beat out of them, I am going to intervene. And I know what the consequences of that are. But we just can't stand around and let the cops brutalize us.
That's right.
So that's about all about all I have to say. There's a lot of more personal details, but I'm just glad to be alive. I'm glad I'm not on a list like that, and I'm sure I would have been if I were black and not white.
Are we tired?
No.
¿Están cansados?
No.
Good, because we don't got the privilege to be tired. We don't got the privilege to be cansados, right? This goes said at every march. I feel like at every protest, at every single type of thing, right? This can't end here. We hear that all the time, right? This can't end here, right? Well, now in this case, now in today's day and age, in our era, right now, it cannot not only not end here, right? It can't only just stay at this level, right? It has to not only not end here, it has to grow. It has to be something huge. Like this, it's not just a police fucking state. You know, it's not just that. It's our institutionalized racist system, right? It's our patriarchal sexist system, right? It's our white privileged system, right? That we have a system that was founded upon slavery and genocide. That is the system in which we are living in, right? All that shit needs to fucking change. You know what I mean? Like just fixing the cops isn't gonna change our problems, right? Fuck the cops, but like that's not the only problem we have. You know what I mean? And it's much larger than this. I'm not going to say how much. I bet there's other people here that really want to speak and can say a lot of things. I know lots of my fellow Chicanas and Chicanos couldn't be here today because the Chicana moratorium is going on right now in Los Angeles, and so if that wasn't going on, like I know there'd be also like a lot of brown representation here as well. I unfortunately couldn't go, but I'm for damn sure I'm happy I'm here. I want to end my personal spiel with the famous activist quote by Assata Shakur, ex-Black Panther, political refugee. If y'all can please repeat after me every single time a little bit louder. It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect each other.
We must love and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose by our chains.
We have nothing to lose by our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect each other.
We must love and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to fight for our freedom.
It is our duty to win.
It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect each other.
We must love and protect each other.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
Thank you.